Hi everyone, I hope you're doing well. For those who haven't met me, my name is Katie and I am the registered dietitian with the Caring for My COPD program. So, before I get into my main content for today, I just have two quick points of clarification I wanted to make on my previous video on groceries. So, the first is around produce. So, for the fresh fruits and vegetables you're buying, I wouldn't say that you need to wash those as you're bringing them into your home. I would just encourage you to wash them really well before you go to eat them or before you go to cook with them or prepare them for a recipe. The other piece I wanted to touch on was around food packaging. So I would say all the articles I have read, the experts seem to agree that the risk of transmission of COVID-19 through food packaging is very low. Some have even said just theoretical. So I really don't think it's a necessity to wipe or disinfect all of your cans and containers and food packages as you're bringing them into your home. As long as you are avoiding touching your face while you're unpacking those groceries, and as long as you are washing your hands really well after you've finished putting them away. That being said, if disinfecting everything reduces any anxiety you might be having around groceries or around the grocery delivery option, I don't think it's harmful. I just think for some that extra step might just add more stress, which is certainly not my intent. So as I kind of stated near the end of that segment, I really think the key is proper hand hygiene. And if you're following that, then I think you should be okay. So in terms of what I wanted to talk about today, I just have a couple of quick pieces of info and advice around nourishing your body given our current situation. So the first thing I just wanted to touch on briefly was that you cannot boost your immune system through diet. And similarly, there are no nutrition supplements right now that are being recommended to prevent or treat COVID-19. That being said, there are various nutrients that play a really important role in keeping your immune system functioning properly. So some examples would be zinc, vitamin C, vitamin D, to name a few. So therefore, I would just encourage you to eat a variety of foods and try to include some that you know are nourishing and nutrient dense and contribute to health, such as fruits and vegetables and whole grains. So that hopefully you are getting enough of the nutrients your body needs to stay well. That being said, I also just wanted to note that this variety can certainly still include some of those foods that we eat more for enjoyment or pleasure than for their nutritional value. So the next thing I wanted to touch on briefly is the impact of stress on eating and the food choices that we make. So when we're stressed, our body produces cortisol, and cortisol increases our appetite. So some people may find that they're eating a bit more right now, and some people might find that they're being triggered to kind of do a bit more emotional eating, where they might be selecting foods more for comfort or pleasure. And I just want to note that if you are experiencing this, that's not wrong. It's a very normal response. And so I would encourage you not to judge yourself if you find you've been responding in this way, and would encourage you instead to be kind to yourself. I think we've probably all experienced moments where our emotions have guided our food choices, or perhaps where we've eaten more than felt comfortable. So kind of that holiday stuffed feeling, we've probably all been there. That being said, if you find that this is happening often enough right now that it's starting to negatively impact your health, then maybe you want to consider exploring other ways to manage whatever those emotions are that are triggering that eating. So for instance, because I mentioned stress, if you're feeling really stressed right now, are there other activities that would help to reduce this stress more effectively, perhaps longer term, or in a way that's going to impact your health in a more positive way? So, I think it's a lot of trial and error and seeing what works for you. It could be a bit of meditation. It could be reading, it could be listening to some relaxing music. So there's no right answer here. It's just trying to find something that feels right for you. Because as much as food can provide sort of that initial boost and might make us feel a little bit better short term, it's typically not going to be a long-term solution to whatever else is going on. So the last thing that I wanted to touch on today is just to note that I recognize that some people may become less motivated to fuel themselves as they normally would while we're in this time of practicing physical distancing. So, when we're not in our normal routine, we may forget to eat, or we may just not feel like preparing food for ourselves. So I often find that people are more motivated to plan and prepare meals when they have company coming, but then they'll say to me when it's just themselves, they're just not as interested in making that same effort to make a meal. So it's just kind of looking for something quick. And so I just wanted to reinforce that you are worth that effort and worth that fuel, regardless of whether you have others that you're sharing that meal with. In addition, with all that's happening right now, I also recognize that nutrition may not be a top concern for people right now or for everyone right now. And also that your meals might not look how they normally do. And maybe that's because you weren't able to get all the food items that you'd normally purchase. Or perhaps, you're just putting more energy into other things. So maybe it's that you're focusing more on staying connected with folks via phone, via video, and keeping busy that way. And so leaning maybe a bit more heavily on pre-prepared items that don't take a lot of time. And that's okay too. However, I do want to encourage you all to try and think about including eating regularly, however that looks, and staying hydrated as part of your plan for self-care right now, because now more than ever, staying well is especially important, and nourishing our bodies is one of the things that we can do to try and stay well. So that's all for me for today. Next week, I'm hoping to share some simple recipe ideas that focus more on non-perishable ingredients that you might have in your home on any given day. So that if you are kind of scrounging around in the back of your cupboard, running low on groceries and don't have plans to go for at least a few days, you have some ideas of what can I make right now. So wishing you all good health and hoping that your week brings some positive moments. And as always, I'll be thinking of all of you. And I'm here if you want to chat about nutrition or just want to check in. Take care, and I'll see you in here again soon.